Perfect. I just started the recording too. I'll make sure
Okay, good.
I have this. Welcome. I appreciate the invite. Shout out to just Pastor Greg, Jonathan, and Michael for even inviting me to come on and talk and train about AIRO. I'm very excited about what is it that we have. I really believe that what we have is going to help just a lot of people worldwide. And I see a lot of people and names on this call that I know for a fact are going to be a part of that once you actually understand what's going on in its entirety. So I'm going to, one, just tell you a little bit about me, but two, really go through an in-depth overview of AIRO. I told Michael, I told my wife, I don't have a time in which I plan on being done. I more so want to make sure that everybody understands what's going on and give everybody the ability to ask questions, to see live examples, to see real-time trades that I've taken, that I would take, and go over just in depth and detail what this whole platform is about and how it is that we're going to be able to help so many people. So just a little bit about me. I've been trading for almost 5 years now, full time. As soon as I heard about trading, I was at a point in my life to where I was really looking for something that was going to give me the ability. One, also, I talk really fast too. So if you feel like I'm talking fast, we're recording everything. You can put any questions in the chat. We'll make sure. But so I've been trading for almost 5 years now, full time. And when I got into trading, I like committed my life to it immediately. Like I'm talking about every London session, every trading session I could be on, spent thousands of dollars on just more education and resource and training and mentorship. And it took me about probably like 18 months to become consistently profitable in the market. It took me probably about another year after that to make my first 6 figures into the market. And that's a 2.5 year process to get to where it is that I started to really feel consistent and be able to make full-time income and not have to work and all those kind of things by leveraging trading. And from what I started to see is that once I started to develop that kind of income for myself, I had a lot of friends, family, and people around me that wanted, let me make sure I got everybody muted because I'm the host. All right, so I had a lot of people around me who wanted to get their money working for them, wanted to get involved in trading, and I started to introduce them, and some of them wanted to give me their money directly. And I really started to see that most people don't necessarily have the time ability to learn how to trade and be consistently profitable in the market. During that first 18 months that I mentioned, I lost a lot of money, I lost a lot of sleep, and I spent a lot of time frustrated and many times thinking that I want to quit. Like I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I lost blew 3, 4, 5 accounts in a row. It's like I get so frustrated that I almost gave up. And thank God that I didn't, and I understood what the end picture was going to look like, even though we're still not even there yet. But I believe that what we found here with AIRO changes that entire narrative. I didn't want to teach anybody how to manually trade for a long time because I didn't think that I didn't want to lead anybody to the slaughter. It's the truth that maybe 8 out of 10 people who start trading are not successful. 8 out of 10, meaning that there's only 2 out of 10 who are. So I'm like, why would I want to be a part of that? Like, why would I didn't want to be behind that mission. So I really started to focus on just technology of automatic trading and trading in a way to where the people could just put their money in and they can be able to compound for them. And I focused on that for years. And that's how we got Avoya Prime. And that's how we put this company together. And that was really what the basis and the foundation was on, was just leveraging technology to compound your money. And then about a year ago, last November, I met a gentleman named Nathan, and Nathan is the developer and the brains behind AIRO. So he actually invented and developed all these tools that I'm going to show you here tonight in detail. And I had no interest in being a live educator or none of that. I was planning on building my business, stacking my money, having $1 million in the software and focusing on that aspect and trading for me personally, for my family, but not necessarily having something for the masses because I hadn't seen anything that I felt like a brand new person who doesn't know much about trading can pick this up and implement this into their own life. And then I saw AIRO and made the choice to become a part of this and then now make me a part of this and do the live education and do all that because I saw how powerful it was. I used it for myself and then I went. I didn't make this. So my point is that I didn't create this and have just some emotional attachment to it. It's like, no, I saw what it was open-mindedly and then took advantage and said, you know what, this is powerful and people really need to learn about this. So without further ado, let's jump right into AIRO. So for those who are not, once they actually, you know what, this is good. I'm glad I saw this. So this is something I was reading earlier I want everybody to know this, that one thing I love about AIRO is that we're basing our decisions off of objective information. And a lot of times people get involved in trading and you want to tell me what you think and this person's opinion. And I felt like this and all that. And that's like, I don't make decisions in the market based on my personal opinion. I want to make it off of objective information. This happened, this happened, this happened. So I'm going to do this. As opposed to, well, I feel like this, or I think that it's going to jump, and none of that. And the quicker that you can remove your emotions from trading and look at things more objectively, the more successful of a long-term trader that you're going to be. So now jumping into AIRO. Okay, so what you're looking at here, and I can't see anybody anymore, so y'all just gonna be looking at my screen. I'm gonna be talking to you. So here with AIRO, actually, before we even get into any of this, first off, as a company, AP, in our onboarding system, if you've never seen this before and you're using AIRO, you want to make sure you get this and you go through this. This is our training material that we have here. And I'm going to reference this and show you guys different points of where some of the information that I'm telling you is already input in our back office. We already have a PDF that goes over every strategy that I'm going to go over here tonight. And I want you to know that these resources are available to you right now. So currently right now, if you haven't even set up AIRO or don't know how to set it up or don't know how to do some of the very basic things, the videos are really right here for you inside of the AP Academy. And I'm going to walk through these things live, but you can know you have a reference point now in this recording and already available in the back office. So this is the AIRO dashboard. Why do I love the AIRO dashboard? Because I believe that it makes things a lot just very easy to see. So here, just to break down what everything is, this is your spreads for every pair. So I choose to have all these pairs available. You can decide whatever pairs it is that you want here. For my first thing that before we even get into is AIRO is not like a one-stop shop. There's no just one way to be able to trade this and be successful. This was built as a trading system to make trading easier. And that's why we have 11 different strategies, and you can use strategies on different pairs. AIRO works on anything with a chart. You can trade Forex, you can trade futures, you can trade binary, you can trade stocks, you can trade cryptos, you can trade indices, all leveraging AIRO. So it's like with each of those, or with how it is that you trade based on what's going on in your life, there's different ways to be able to do so correctly. So we're going to go over a few things here today, and we literally still have people joining the chat or joining the call as we speak. It's awesome. So here inside of the AIRO dashboard, you can choose whatever pairs it is that you want. I have mine currently on all pairs, all 28, just so that way I'm using this for example purposes here. But once this is set, you can choose whatever time frame it is that you want your notifications on, or how it is that you want that to operate. But again, this is all customizable. So like, let's say you only trade GJ, GU, and Euro GBP. You can come and change your pairs here to whatever it is that you trade. You can put indices there. You can put gold there, whatever it is that you trade. You can choose that as far as what's going to be on your dashboard. If you weren't going to use the dashboard, how you would put AIRO on the chart would be like, let's say I wanted to trade GBP USD. I'll come here, click GU. That's the regular chart. And I will come over here under indicators and drag AIRO onto the chart. And then I have to click OK. And then it'll go ahead and put it on there for me. Using the dashboard, I can literally just go to GU here on the dashboard, pick whatever time frame I want to see it, and click, and it'll bring it up on that time frame for me. And now I can switch time frames and use it regular. So it's easier to leverage the dashboard. But here is your spread. So it tells you the spread of every pair. So that way you know exactly how much money it is you're going to lose on that trade, no matter what, as soon as you get in. Here's your daily open and your weekly open. What does this mean? So basically where price opened at for this last daily candle. And again, the daily candles close at the same time New York session closed. So from between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the day's over. So day's over as far as Forex is concerned. So once that happens, it's showing you here where's price since the close of that day. And here's where's price since the close of that week. If it's in orange, that means it's bearish and gone down 6 pips since the daily open. If it's green, that means it's bullish and has been going up since the day's open. So what does that mean? That means if you're a trend trader, if you trade more of that style, you already know kind of what's happening with that pair since the market opened for either the day or the week. So it's like, okay, cool. AUD JPY. I don't even have to look at the AUD JPY chart. I can tell right here that, okay, this whole week it's been going up. It's going up. I don't know what the hell that is. Is that me or y'all? My bad, y'all. Had some random video that popped up on YouTube. So back to this. I don't have to look at the chart to know exactly what happened by just leveraging this information. I can look at AUD JPY and say, okay, if we go bring it up, which I am, price has gone up 200 and almost 50 pips this past week on AJ. So I can just look at that and quickly know what's going on in the market for that pair. And when you go click the pair, what do you see? Price has done nothing but shoot up for the last week and some change. So just reading and understanding the basics of even what this is telling you is major. Also, this is the average daily range, okay? ADR, that's what that stands for. So meaning that on average for the last 5 days, that's what this 5 is here, AUD CAD, which is this first pair, travels or moves about 58 pips throughout the day. So it'll tell you that coming into it. So now you know, okay, if a pair has gone way over its average daily range, it might not move that much for that day. So it's like, okay, if it's already well over that, I don't want to take a trade on that pair, which is already moved way past its daily range. So it's just more things to have just general education as far as understanding what's actually happening when you take trades here leveraging AIRO. Now, with that, I'm going to go over on the call our base strategies. Okay, so when you hear about AIRO, the first strategy you're going to hear of is called the bag strategy, and it stands for bounce, AIRO, go. Okay, and I'm going to go into the details of what that means. But again, where that information is, we have all of our strategies. We have videos for them here. AIRO bag strategy number 1. If you have not seen this, you definitely want to go watch and get the official explanation. And then at the same time, we have PDFs for all of our strategies as well. So if you don't have this PDF, I'll make sure that Jonathan and Pastor James have it and can send it out to all of you. But on the PDF gives you very objective ways to look at exactly what I'm about to describe to you right here, right now. So with the bag strategy, what AIRO is doing, what is happening is that these, and again, every time you see this light up, that means that an AIRO has popped there. Now this is on the minute 1 time frame. So it's very quick. You'll see arrows there all the time. The time frame that we trade on when it comes to Forex pairs is the 15-minute time frame. So if I wanted to, I could take off the M1 and the M5 completely and just have the M15 on there, but I have them all on there just so we can all see this together. So the 15-minute time frame, for example, let's just go to Euro USD. So the 15-minute time frame, what you're looking for, again, we can look at this rule by rule. So on our PDF, you see here, it says the first thing that you want to do when taking a bag entry. And again, we have extremely basic strategies, and then we have much more detailed strategies for our more advanced traders. But the goal is to have an environment to where everybody, regardless of what your level is, can be able to have success with us. So our base strategy is bounce, AIRO, go, which means that your first thing you want to do is identify the trend. We're going to talk about trends too, a lot today. So identifying the trend. So the green zones that you see here pop up, the green zones and the red zones here are letting you know resistance and support. So what you can do to make things easy is to count the number of zones, zoom all the way out on your MC4. So this is zooming in, pressing the magnifying glass in, this is zooming out. So you're zooming out on the 15-minute time frame on whatever Forex pair it is that you're trading. You count the number of zones. Okay, 1, 2, 3 green, 1, 2 red. This little one, I'm not counting. It just came up. So I'm only really worrying about the big zones that you can see. So I count the number of zones. It's your first step. When you go back to here, so you want to take a trade inside of the money zone. What is the money zone? The money zone is this shaded area that's right here. And it represents the time from about 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which covers all of London session and the majority of New York session, which is when the most volume is inside of the market. So it's like the most money or the most time that you'll see movements in the market is usually during that time. So we teach traders an easy way to be able to see it, so that way you don't have to worry or take trades at, terrible times where the market's not even going to move. So this makes it a lot easier for everybody across the board to see these time zones outlined. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply to the US 30s and trading crypto and stuff like that, but for Forex pairs, it absolutely applies. And what you're looking for is to see price bounce off of a zone that's already, again, this is already created for you. So when we talk about objective information, you can ask yourself, did price bounce off the zone? Yes. Okay. Is it an uptrend? How would I know if it's an uptrend? One of 2 ways to know it's an uptrend. One is to count the zones here. And 2 is we actually give everybody the trends or the directional trend of the market. But I'm going to save that for when we get a little bit more into this training. Okay. So for right now, we know this is an uptrend. When this bounce, AIRO, go happen, you can take this trade. Our strategy teaches to take 20 pip trades. Okay. So for Euro USD or for whatever Forex pair you're trading, 15-minute time frame, this is our base strategy, is to take 20 pips from this trend. So if you would enter the trade right here when this candle closes, the arrows do not pop up until the candles close. And a lot of times people jump in trades too early after just seeing impulse, as opposed to waiting until the candle closed. Candle close means that that's complete data. So here you would have entered after this candle closed, maybe had 2-3 pips of drawdown. And again, we teach a simple strategy of where you want to put your stop loss. You want to put your, and again, this is not mandatory if you already have experience trading. What I would do personally and what I do, you have a 20 pip take profit. And then here on your stop, for as far as your stop's concerned, you have a couple options. If you don't know anything about trading, put it at 40 pips and follow exactly what it is that's in the PDF to the T. put it at 40 pips. If you have more experience, you can do one of three things. You can, one, put your stop loss below your moving average. So in this scenario, it would have been about 10 pips. You can put it below your previous low. This right here is your previous low. That would have put your stop loss at about 12 to 13 pips, or you can put it below the previous zone, which is about 22, 23 pips. Those are like independent decisions based on whatever lot size you use in your comfortability trading. But if you don't know anything about trading, we have a very safe way to be able to do this and just put your stop loss at 40 pips. And the high majority time that you get a bounce arrow go, it's going to go ahead and hit your 20 pips. But that's just one of the strategies. And you want to make sure that you take these trades along with the trend. And a lot of times people don't necessarily identify or get confidence in the trend. And simultaneously, you don't want to take a trade in which you don't have at least 20 pips up to the next zone. A lot of times I see people get out of trades too early or not enter trades correctly, but you want to wait until you have at least 20 pips between where your entry would be and the next zone. And how do you count your pips? You can use this little tool over here called the crosshair and click it and click wherever you want and drag it. And that number right there in the middle is your pip count. That's points though. So you want to slide the decimal over one place. So it says 357 right now. That's not 357 pips. That's 35.7 pips. So that is the bag strategy. I will touch on something else real quick as well. When we go and look at our strategies, and again, they're all listed here and we have them all detailed on the PDF. So if you don't have the PDF, I will make sure that you have it so you can reference it as well. We're going to go into deep on strategy 3 and 4 because those are my favorite two strategies. But something I want to add on here is strategy 9. This is our market maker method strategy. So I don't know. I know everybody here, some may have some experience trading, some may not. The market maker strategy is a very popular strategy. It's taught by Steve Morrow. And we had that training and we put the strategy into how it is that we use and leverage AIRO. Now, more importantly, Nathan actually built an indicator that he uses to let us know the market maker directions of the trends. Okay. So what does that mean? So about every night, and usually they might not come every night, but usually about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Nathan will update us inside of our group chat. And if we have, this is all public, this is in the Everybody Eats chat for everybody who's here. And it'll say market maker trend directional signals. What does that mean? It's telling you what is the trend of the market makers for that time frame. So when we get this alert, like this was here last night, 10:13, we have about 48 hours to 72 hours to when these trends are valid. So for example, we got somebody else just entered. For example, let's look at Euro USD. So this just happened yesterday, okay? Yesterday at 10 p.m. Eastern, these were put out. When these are put out, you have about 48 to 72 hours to take trades in that direction. You can take trades using any strategy in this direction. So when I know that Euro USD is a buy, I actually don't have to go and see or know what the trend is. Any trade that's valid using any of our strategies for the buy, I will be looking for in that scenario. So here, this came out last night. So how do I know this starts at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the money zone starts. So the alert came out a couple hours before that. Once the alert comes out, now we know the direction of the trend. Even though we already have the zones, this bounce arrow go now is super valid. And you could have taken that up for 20 pips last night during London session. So that is the market maker trend direction signals. I want to show you guys one of my favorite strategies though, that I use pretty much almost every day. It's called strategy 3 and strategy 4. Okay. So strategy 3 and strategy 4. It is the Asia session breakout and the money zone breakout. So breakouts are a very popular term in trading as well, as far as strategies that you can use. I'm sure a lot of you heard break, retest, go, stuff like that. But these strategies are very simple and easy to use and easy to see in the market. So let me describe to you. Asia session is the time of day in between New York session when it ends, which is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is identified by this dotted line right here, which is a period separator. So this shows you when the new day is. So this is the new day right here. So this is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. And when the money zone starts right here, this is 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So all of this in the middle, that is Asia session. Okay, so that is called, some people call it Sydney session, but whatever you want to call it, that's Asia session. From Tokyo, Sydney, that is that session right there, this period of time when those banks are open. The same way that 1 a.m. to like, or 2 a.m. to like 8 a.m. is like London, and then 8 to 4, 8 to 5 is New York session when the New York banks are open. So it's based off when that country's banks and money is really moving. But I'm showing you this because a strategy that we leverage often is strategy 3, and it's breakouts of those zones. So every day you can come on and find potential opportunities to take trades by leveraging strategy 3 and 4. So all you're doing This again, I promise you, is this simple. Is identifying where the high and the low of Asia session is. So this time from right here where the period separator is over here to where London session starts, that's your Asia session. So I'm going to identify the high of Asia session and the low of Asia session. So I'll put a line there. That's the high, that's the low. Now, all you're doing is those lines, you put those lines on there. It's something you can do every day. We're going to back test this. I'm going to show you real time how this really works. But the second that you have a strong close above your line here, a strong close above this line, so this purple line is the high, you can take this trade for a 20 pip buy if you're trading a Forex pair. This also works on indices as well. So I'm going to go over this when it comes to indices. So you have the ability to take this trade as soon as it breaks this high. So this region right here, you identify the high. When it breaks it, you can take this trade here, enter right after the strong close. You can put your stop loss again below the moving average, below the previous low, or below the previous zone. Those are your three options every time, or you take the standard 40 pips if it's a Forex pair. But I would advise either going with your money zone, with your moving average, your previous low, or the zone. So those are three options each time, and each time you're taking it for 20 pips, which it hit before it came back down. So this is another way to show you that the same trade that we talked about. And again, it's not going to always have a bag entry bounce arrow go right there when it happens. So that was like, you're basically taking almost the same trade. But the breakouts work well and you can take them up or down. So I would only take it though, if with the overall trend of what's going on. So we knew that yesterday, Euro USD, we got the buy trend. So the bag, that's why I would have took it. And I would have also looked here for this breakout to take as well. But let's go find some other examples, okay? Get rid of this, clean it up. I don't even like EU like that, but we can stay here if you so choose. So I'll show you a couple more examples just to show you one even on the previous day. So this day, this right here, this dotted line is the period separator. This right here is the start of London session, the money zone start. So I can put my high right here, which is the high of this Asia session zone that's right here. Now, when price closed below, closed above strong, you had a strong close above, you could have entered the trade right here. And we talked about where's your stop. Your stop is either, going to be under your moving average, which would have been about 10 pips, below your previous low right here, which is like 14, 15, or you put it below the zone, which would put you at about 30. Here's a great example, because during London session, if you'd have had your stop tight, meaning that you had it just at your moving average, 10 pips, you would have got wicked out in this scenario. But if you would have put it below the zone, you would have had a little bit more room. If you would have put it at 40, you would have had a ton of room. But regardless, this went well beyond 20 pips. So you're seeing the opportunity to take these trades on EU, which is one of the slowest pairs in the world. And I don't even personally trade EU like that. So we're going to look at a couple of different pairs here to just show you guys more examples. But that's strategy 3, okay? So I'm going to stay at strategy 3 before we touch strategy 4, even though they are very similar, okay? So the high and the low that you're using on strategy 3 is based off of Asia session. The high and the low that you're using for strategy 4 is based on the money zone. The money zone, again, is this shaded area right here. So it's very easy to identify, because you can go and put a line at the top of the money zone and at the bottom of the money zone. And when you see price break through your price in the money zone, you can take this up for another 20 pips. It usually will happen on the next day. So I'm going to show you guys some examples. Again, even this one right here. Get rid of this. So here at the high of the previous day's money zone, which is right here. And again, the money zone is the shaded area. Once price closed above the money zone here, that is another entry that you could have had for the buy. Price closed above, you could have entered, you could have had your stop below the the moving average, the previous low, or the zone, or you could have just went 40 pips. Again, that's independent. But here again, price went up, you would have got your 20 pips and been out from a breakout of what? Yesterday's high that you can see objectively and clear because of how the money zone is labeled on AIRO. So that's EU. Let's get off EU. I want to get on another pair. EU is pretty trash. Come on, somebody give me a pair. Y'all trade. Drop a pair in the chat. Let me see something. None of y'all trade. Nobody got a pair y'all want to look at, and I'm not looking at gold. Gold is out. Somebody give me something. Forex pairs only. For this next example, yes, and then I'll switch up and go indices on as we close it up. GU, bet. GU, UCAD. GU very similar to EU, but we can go there too. GU on the 15. Again, GU very similar chart to EU as well. So even if you look at it, like somebody might not even be able to tell the difference if we went back from GU and EU so fast, because the breakouts look very similar to where they broke out both times. But you can see it again if you want me to identify. One, we didn't get any bags here on this ride up. Your only bag entry that you got was right here. Our strategy 2, which is I think that a lot of you guys are going to like. Somebody unmute. Is he said UJ? I'll take UJ out too. Is going on a higher time frame, so you can go on the H1 and leverage the strategies as well. So a lot of people like to take the bounce arrow goes on the H1 time frame as long as you're trading with the trend. Let me go ahead and mute. Gotcha.
Dante, one of the things I want to say really quick before you continue, we've got some new people that haven't engaged yet really in Forex and AIRO. And I want to let you guys know what Dante's doing is he's talking to the people that have already engaged in AIRO and have kind of looked at it. For those of you that are new, your prospects, you're kind of looking at this, understand that when you engage with this, you're going to get private trainings. You're going to get this education. So we're going to explain to you what's a pip, you know, what's a candlestick, what's the wick. So that's part of bringing you into this community so you're not lost. This call is really for people that have looked at AIRO, they've signed up, they're kind of getting it. But understand, like I said, if you don't know anything about Forex, and when you join, like Dante tells a great story, he actually thought it was 4, the number 4 and X. If you're one of those people right now, that's okay. Because like I said, you're in good hands with Allstate. We're going to incorporate privately educating you on those basic Forex fundamentals so you can then accurately and get in and understand AIRO and the markets as a whole, okay? Because that's part of being the team. So we're going to take care of you on that and wean those of you that are newer into this more, you know, elaborate explanation.
No problem. So I want to go with a non-USD pair. So somebody said GJ, so I'll go there with the dragon. Let's see what's up. All right, so GJ, sheesh. When you zoom out for GJ on the 15-minute, what kind of trend are we in? Super easy to see, not really opinionated. We're in an uptrend. So knowing that, that's your first thing you want to do is know the direction of the trend. And 2 ways to do it using AIRO is 1, just zoom out and count the zones on the 15-minute time frame, or 2, if we get an update from our from Nathan in our group to let us know what the market maker trend direction is. So if we haven't gotten one for that pair in 2 to 3 days, then you want to just go ahead and take it on. Just go ahead and count the zones on your chart. So if you don't know, even somebody who doesn't know anything about Forex, very simple. You zoom out of your chart, and now you're waiting to see price bounce off of a zone. You get an arrow in your direction. You would have entered right here at the end of this candle. Boom. Again, where you can put your stop loss. You can put it below the moving average if you want. You can put it below your below the previous low or below the zone. Or if you don't know anything about trading, just go standard 40 pips. So it's options. But people all the time, they're like, well, Don, I don't want to use a 40 pip stop loss. You don't have to. You can use whatever stop loss you feel the most comfortable with. But this is allowing you to see what's going on in the market a lot clearer. And clearly you made, way more than 20 pips off of just waiting to get the bounce here, taking the arrow and riding it up. And as you see, what forms a trend, you'll see many opportunities. Bounce, arrow, go. Bounce, arrow, go. And I'm ignoring the down arrows. Why? Because it's not a downtrend. So I'm not looking at these down arrows at all in any way, shape, or form. So I'm only worried about the ones pointing up. And when you look at it on the higher time frame, so this is the 15-minute, the other time frame will be H1. They don't come as often, obviously, but you can see here, bounce, arrow, go opportunities that last a lot longer. And you can hold your trades here with AIRO for a lot longer because you can see exactly where your exit points are at. So I've seen a lot of people be able to hold their trades much, much longer. We can go into strategy 3 and 4. I got you. So strategy 4 in this example here, looking at GJ, is your high and a low of the money zone. What kind of trend are we in? We're in an uptrend. So if I put a line here at the top of the money zone, again, I know I might be talking fast and some of this might be just too much jargon for some of you, but I really want to explain for those who actually know about trading, like how you could be making just really good money leveraging this every day. So here is the high All you're doing is waiting for a candle to close strong above your high. Boom, you can take the trade. So now I'm in the buy right at this moment when this close happens above the money zone here. Stop loss is where? Below the moving average, below the previous low, or below the zone. Either that or put it at a smooth 40 and call it a day. You would have got your 20 pips and then some by a mile in this example. Now that's strategy 4. So that's the money zone breakout. When I was talking to you guys about strategy 3, which is the Asia session breakout, check this. And this happens on the GBP pairs almost every night. I don't trade London. If I trade London, I'll make more money. But I be sleep, man. I don't got time for it. I got a son that's 1 year old, man. Listen, I got to cherish my sleep. But here, this is the high that I'm about to draw on of Asia session. How did I find that? Right here is a period separator, which is already on here for you. And then here is the start of the money zone. All you got to do is be able to see the highest point during these 2 spots right here. This is the highest point. You draw the line there. I'm looking for buys. When do I get in? I get in the trade as soon as price closes above my line here that I have now identified. So when did it happen? Right here. Y'all see this? I hope y'all see this candle. I'm trying not to go too fast, but this green candle right here that closed above this purple line, which is our Asia session high, I enter right here at the bottom at the top of this. Boom. You would have had, where do you put your stop loss? Your stop loss is behind your moving average, below the previous low, or below the zone, or a standard 40 pips. There's 4 options every time, and it's on you. I use below the previous low or the moving average the most, though. And so here, I mean, you went up, well, I mean, it went up over 40 pips, but we're 20 pips and we're out. And this is how you can, these are all trades that happened in the last 24 hours. So it's our 24, maybe 48 hours. So it's just showing you how many opportunities it is that you can create with AIRO. So that was a strategy 4. I showed you strategy 3, and then you have your bag entry here. And these are all just the first 3 to 4 strategies. We have 11 that are released. Some of them have 2 videos. So it's like, there's no one way to do this. And again, for somebody who's even super, super new, we have something here, and I use this too. So it's not, you don't even have to be new. 2 things. So we're huge on risk management here, on how you actually managing your account and what you're doing to be able to be profitable in the market. So we have a risk manager here. So let me show y'all something cool. So for you, like, okay, well, I don't know what lot size to use, or I don't know, you know what I mean, certain things about how to actually manage my account correctly, you can use the risk manager. And so let's say, and again, proper trading, you only want to risk maybe 1 to 3% of your account per trade. So you don't ever want to risk more than that, because you don't want to end up losing 10, 20, 30% of your account in one day, which has happened to most people who've been in trading before. So let's say I'm going to risk 3% of my account, and at the most I have my stop loss at 40 pips, like we just talked about. Okay. So with that, you don't really have to think or try to calculate your lot size. The risk manager will go ahead and do that for you. So in this account here, it tells me, okay, so my suggested lot size to risk 3% of my account with a 40 pip stop loss would be a 0.08. I didn't have to figure that out. It's told directly to me. So if I'm teaching somebody who's brand new, we're determining that this is the correct lot size. Now, if I ever look at your account and I'm mentoring you and you have lot sizes entered bigger than 0.08, then you can't come to me and say, well, I blew my account or none of that, because it's being very clear to you in an objective way that will keep you and hold you accountable to how to actually do this and become profitable over time. The goal isn't to make $1 million tomorrow or to take one of these trades and make 100,000. The goal is to be consistently profitable in the market, and this will hold you accountable to that. You can put your daily limit to lose on there, meaning that you can decide exactly how much money you're comfortable losing, and it'll tell you objectively here. So now if you lose that much, it'll say, so I get out the market, stop. Daily profit to win at. So it's like, okay, cool. Once I make X amount today, I'm done. And it tells you all that, tells you your drawdown, tells you your daily wins and losses, so that way you don't ever have to think, wonder, or guess. We're literally laying it up for you as easy as possible. Lastly, this one is one of my favorite add-ons to AIRO. It's called the trade manager. So has anybody, for all my traders on the call, has anybody ever taken a trade, it gone into profit, and then, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, for sure. No problem. For those who don't know, hear him say, correct. But that was for the risk manager. For the risk manager, you don't need to add the extra 0. Threw off my question. It's all good. So for here, for everybody who's ever traded before, have you ever had a trade that gone into profit and maybe 10, 15 pips, and then it reversed on you, hit your stop loss? put a 1 in the chat if that's ever happened to you before. You took a trade, it went close to your take profit, didn't hit it, and then reversed, and you ended up losing the trade. Has that ever happened for you before, or is it just me? I'll put my own 1 in the chat because it's happened to me. Let me see. Couple ones. I'll take it. So what we do to prevent that here with AIRO is we have here the trade manager. What it does is this actually will protect your trades for you based on whatever settings it is that you set. So here I can set, let's say we know that for all of our strategies for on the Forex pairs, the stop loss is 20 pips. So I'll put, I'm sorry, to take profit is 20 pips. So I'll put 200 here. And what that means is 20 pips. It's counted by points. Your stop loss, it depending on where it is that you set it. Let's just use the 40, for example. It doesn't mean that this is what you're going to use, but let's just use the 40, for example. Boom, you change this to place stop loss and take profit so you can see it. That's one part of it. So now you don't have to actually enter your stop loss and take profit on every order. It will put it on there for you. And I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. So here is your profit locks. This is where I love it at. So let's say I were to take a trade, and when the trade gets 10 pips in profit, I don't want to be at risk of losing any money anymore. So when it's 10 pips in profit, I'll tell the software, it'll put my stop loss from 40 pips as a stop loss to 1 pip in profit now if I change it here, meaning that it protects my trade. So now I don't have the ability to actually lose once it gets a certain point in profit, and it will do that automatically. You can be sleeping, you could be at work, you could be whatever. If you have the trade manager set up, it will manage it based on whatever it is that you set. And you can actually have it set to second 2 profit locks. So if you're a more long-term trader, or if you're using this on the H1 where we have a 50 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit, then you can use this in the second profit lock and be able to say, okay, well, if it goes 30 pips in profit, I want to protect 10 pips of my trade. You can choose all that. And that's like it's all based on just comfortability and how you want to run it. Obviously, we have base settings that are just very general that work for everybody. But as you learn the tool, you can use more advanced things and be able to kind of hone it in to how it is that you like to trade. And you also have a trailing stop loss here. So if you want to use a trailing stop loss in your trades and be able to basically protect it as it goes in profit, you can. But I want to just show you guys an example of this. So trade manager is now on. So you see the smiley face up here. It's now on and active. So I'm going to open up a trade. Doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to sell. Boom. Once this is the entry up here. Now that red line that you just see get added on, that is the take profit. That just happened in real time. So when you take a trade, you don't have to go and put your stop loss and take profit on there. You can set the trade manager and it will actually apply it on there for you. You can see here, I'll have to go to the daily, but you can see the stop loss as well. And it will also move how is it that you tell it to move when it goes to protecting your trade. So this is just another added feature that AIRO brings on as far as protecting the trades it is that you take. So it's just another way to make this more risk management friendly, make it easier for somebody who may not understand. So if you don't know anything, you can just set it to where, okay, if you're brand new, how would I teach you? How would I coach you? You're only going to take bag entries on a 15-minute time frame on the 10 pairs that we recommend. Set your trade manager to where you're just doing 20 pips as a take profit, 40 pips as your stop loss, and just take the bag entries. And we'll go over how to be able to take them and how to see them. And that's it. And stay there for a month, stay there for 2 months. Do that on demo until you have 100 reps in and feel much more comfortable, and then can go into expanding and getting into more of the other strategies and how it works. But it's not like a one size fits all scenario. And that's, I guess, good and bad because people have their own level of discretion. But to use this will add a lot of value to you. For you guys who trade the indices, this is a little bit more of my land. I trade indices pretty much every day. Let me mute somebody who's talking. Here. All right. So this is US 30, okay? So US 30, I use the same strategies that we went over to strategy 1 as far as the bag entry, and the strategy 3 and 4, which are the breakouts. 1 is the money zone breakout, 2 is the Asia session breakout. But let me show you guys a couple of trades that we took, okay? So I trade Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, okay? So this is Tuesday, money zone you can see right here. Wednesday's money zone you can see right here, and today's money zone that you can see right here. So I trade all 3 of these days during New York session. I trade more than that too, but it's all during New York session. And I can show you guys just how simple it is to take these trades that we're discussing when it comes to the breakouts. No matter what level of trader you actually are, these things can be seen and identified relatively early. Now, I'll show you guys Wednesday's trade. Okay, so I'm looking at this money zone right here, this Wednesday session, just because it's easier to see. So what are we doing to identify the Asia session? Well, we go from the period separator right here to the money zone. Money zone's 1 a.m. So we're worrying about this time right here. So we're looking for, okay, let's identify the high and the low of this time. Now, before this big move up that just happened here, all of this was red zone. So it was clear pretty much that US 30 has been selling over the last couple of days. You see here, it was selling, and then there was a lot of red zones that was right here. So before this was green, this was a red zone. And again, that's what's great about AIRO is that it updates and changes in real time. Support can get broken and turn into resistance, and it shows you that real time. But at the time of this trade, this is all red. Now, we took this trade live on my New York session call. I will show you. I think I got to go 15 minutes. Okay. So again, we're looking at this day's money zone. Now, I trade from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. pretty much every day, which is when the New York Stock Exchange opens and there's a lot of volatility in the market. I'm not in trades for a long time. I'm usually just in and out for scalps. But you see here, we were looking for sells this day because we had already had so much selling pressure. The trend was selling currently. But when do I get into the sell, Dante? We have options. You actually see here that on the 15-minute time frame on US 30, you have a bounce. This was a red zone at the time, but it's a bounce off the zone. You have an arrow here, and you could have taken that trade down right from this point. I think that was a little bit before my call, and I wasn't in the trade. So my entry to get in was actually when it broke out below this Asia session right here. So this purple line. As soon as this candle closed here this was on the 5-minute time frame, but I'm on the 15 now, so you can't see it as much. Let me see if I can try to show you, because you got to see the 5-minute candle ended and closed right below this purple line right here. So you can't see it as much. If you look at it right here, I'll go back to the 15, but we entered right at that line, and it was a very, very clean, straight to take profit kind of a victory, to where price came down and shot over 1,000 pips. So if you see, I think there's a couple of guys on this call who were on that call when we did that live. It went down almost 1,500, but we caught the breakout for that sell. And then some people the very next day caught US 30 for the buy going back up. So you see here, and this is what's so powerful about the breakout strategy, is that there's opportunities to trade it almost every day. So now let's look at the high and the low of the Asia zone of yesterday. Asia session, how do we identify it? We look at the period separator right here, then we look at the money zone start right here. So we're worrying about this time in between. So what we do is identify the high, identify the low, and then we're really only looking for buys now in this scenario. Once this got broken is green, this was red. Once it got broken and now it's green, I'm looking for buys in this scenario. So when price closed above this purple line right here, you see the entry right here, you could have entered the trade for a buy. Boom, right here. You would have had a little bit of, maybe a little bit of drawdown, but you could have had your stop loss where? Below the moving average, below your previous low, or below the zone. It's all on you. And then look how much price has gone up, almost 4,000 pips since this breakout happened. When I got on my call today, price was already, like, this was about 9 a.m. right here where this was going on. There were people on my call, and this is how you know when you're teaching something is working, who were already 1,000, 1,500 pips in profit when I got on the call today, because they entered this trade last night because we taught them the strategy. So this isn't, okay, wait for Dante to tell you when to get in. I'm teaching you how to actually do this. So then when you see this happen in real time, you can actually have the confidence to take those trades and be able to take that breakout money. And those are, in my opinion, the easiest strategies that we offer, being the bag strategy and the two breakouts, one of the money zone and the other of the Asia session. I think that was good enough to pause and let's take some questions. I don't want to go over nobody's head just too much. We've been on here for a while. So Pastor James or Jonathan or Mike, if y'all want to direct and get some questions from people, I'm here. Let's do it.
Well, Dante, this is the first thing I want to say. And certainly I want to say to all of those who are on the call, guys, what you know tonight is that we've been working on what you're seeing happening now for some time. And this was a scheduled call. And our original plan was to have those who have been trading on. So therefore, those who've been trading are familiar with this language. But because there was so much excitement about people coming into the marketplace ministry, we asked Mike to ask Dante, could we just open it up for all of our members to just come on in, and then we'll go back to the new ones to get them to understand PIPs and to get them to understand all of that, but just teach it just like you would. So that's what this original call was. It was really for a small, intimate group of our marketplace leaders. But man, so many of you all joined on with us. We didn't want to leave you out. So don't feel like you don't know what's going on. You are going to know. So we're excited.
Let me ask also, Dante, add this because Dante's got some questions. Greg, I'm going to do one thing. For those of you that are lost, for those of you that have never traded, remember what I said. Avoria Prime is a multi-dimensional company. So what Dante just did is he showed you AIRO. He showed you, because the call was originally for AIRO people. But you know what? For those of you that don't know, maybe you're looking at this and everything is Chinese or everything's not. You know what? I'm going to show you something. I'm going to share my screen right now. Can you, Dante, because you're the host, let me share my screen.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And don't worry if you don't know, because you know what? That's why we're multi-dimensional at Avoria Prime. Here's a live account with one of our softwares. This gentleman, Stephen Ballard, is in Atlanta. Stephen knows nothing about Forex, wants nothing to know. He tried to learn, it wasn't for him. So what Stephen said is, Mike, look, I want to be able to compound my money over time. You know what, Forex just isn't for me, or maybe it will be in the future, but how can I still make money in those very markets not working with AIRO, or maybe it's going to take me a little bit of time to understand AIRO. I said, great, we've got something for you. Stephen knows nothing about Forex. As you can see, this is a live account. It's a real account. Stephen said, Michael, listen, I want to compound my money slowly. I want to be able to withstand, what do they call it, that NSP thing or F or whatever it is. I want to be able to just compound my money slowly. If you can give me 1.5%, 2% a month, I'm happy. That was 13 months ago. Stephen deposited, as you can see, and again, there's live money right there. Stephen deposited $2,450. As of today, 13 months later, for a guy that did absolutely nothing except approve a couple trades a week, knows nothing about Forex, as he's now just getting into AIRO, his balance is $4,477. For you traders, look at his drawdown. That means in 13 months, while now he's beginning to learn AIRO, for doing nothing, he's made over $2,000 on a $2,400 investment. Had he taken that $2,400 and put it into a mutual fund, checking account, CD, money market, you know how much he'd have right now? Maybe $2,500, if that. So we've got tools for people, if you're new, while you're learning the strategies of Dante and AIRO and Nate, you have a way that you can compound your money in the same liquid market, which makes learning easier because now you're double dipping. And that's the power of Avoria Prime and what we're bringing to the table. Pastor Greg, I know that Dante, there's someone on the call that is happier than anything because he caught some pips with Dante over the last couple of days. Is he on the call? And if so, Dante, can you unmute him?
Yeah, that's Apostle Long. What happened, he was on the call, but he got called in to work. He's a nurse. But his testimony, for those of us who are part of the Relentless Traders, Dante, he joined you for the past 3 days on the US 30. The first day, he caught it down for $500. The next day, he caught it up for $1,500. And today, he caught it for $500. He said this week on those 3 days, he did well over $2,300, and putting all of the time together, it does not equate to an hour.
I don't got nothing to say after that one. Go ahead. You should be good, Mike.
Yeah,
By the way, he's also up in 2 weeks on a $1,000 investment, $56 on his gearbox, the manual training that he doesn't have to do anything with. So, we're here to help you guys. Again, we're going to have private trainings. Dante and I are here to help all of you in any way, whether it be on the networking side, whether it be on the software side, whether it be on the AIRO side. Dante and I are here. We want you to call us directly. We want you to text us. We want to be engaged in your journey of Forex, whether it's manual trading with AIRO, whether it's on the software side, on the networking side. We are here to help you guys make money in these markets. And Dante and I are very hands-on. So we invite you to let us know what we can do to help you. We're not going to leave you to your own devices. So Greg, if that's it, I've got a recording of this call. I can send it out to people. Jonathan, if you have anything to say, please do. And it's been great, guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for everybody that joined the call, because I know the biggest commodity we all have is time. So I want to thank everyone who I personally invited, on our team to come, because I know that means that you're serious about this. And I'm gonna give this note because they won't. A lot of you all were in that other company that I was in as well, and that I say nothing bad about that company. But what I will say about this company is that since I've been trading with this company, the indicators alone have blown my mind in reference to allowing me to back learn, meaning that I'm looking at the strategies automatically run on the screen and I'm able to follow and understand what they're doing, but I'm truly getting in trades, earning money and making money while I'm continuing to learn, as they say, or someone says, forever the student. That's exactly what we all are. So if nothing else, I hope tonight you learn that there is a software out here that can help you, that there are educators here that are willing to give their time, even when a football game is about to come on, to make sure that you all are straight. I know my little nephew, Theater, is on here, and I hope that he jumps ahead of the game. A matter of fact, I'm going to say this right now, Pastor James, we're going to sponsor him to make sure that he's further along than any of us ever were at his young age. Just because he's interested in training, we're going to make sure he gets all the information that he needs. So I have a couple other people on here that I just wanted to see the software, like Gearbox. Lawrence, yes, I'm talking about you. This is phenomenal of what it can do for families. So again, I thank everybody for their time. Tell people, even if you are not interested in moving forward, tell people that there is something out here that can restore their faith in their ability to be true earners in this, what is it, Dante, $7 trillion industry now?
$7 trillion a day.
We should be able to go in there. We should be motivated enough to be able to go in there and snatch $100,000 out a day, just so that our families can be where they need to be. So that's all I have to say. I appreciate everybody with godly love. Everybody be blessed, and whoever you're rooting for, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I hope your team wins.
All right. Hey, well, listen, what I need you all to do before you leave, if you enjoyed the fact of having Dante and Michael share with us tonight, this is just the beginning of their commitment to us. But I want you to put some 7-7s in there just to let them know that we're appreciative of, one, him saying to Michael, tell Pastor, tell Jonathan, whoever's on their team, invite them in, because I know what we plan. But listen, if they're motivated, let's get them in. And whoever invited you tonight, that brought you on as a part of the Relentless Traders, get back with that pastor or get back with that leader that invited you in, and let them know that you're appreciative of them reaching out to you. And let's begin to do what we have been commissioned to do, and that's change the generation. And I always like to say this, hey, the bottom is really crowded, so we're going to see everybody at the top. Good night, God bless you, and we love you.